Raviola and Anonu.
Hello and nice to have you for the late edition of the Barbarella, 23rd of November, 8 p.m. UTC. How are you guys? Amazing month after the Barbarella's first blackout, Black Friday, just a week earlier than everybody else in the world. Isn't it funny, Anutu? How are you today?
Oh my goodness, yeah. After that week, I'm happy to be here with all you guys and really have some relaxing Friday, grooving into weekend.
Weekend. That was something I was really amazed to hear. Friends usually cursing Monday and be very thankful about God gave them the rock and roll Fridays. And maybe it's about aging, I don't know, but I grow very keen on Fridays too. Don't you think that they're the most wonderful time of the week and the month and the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember me first time being in the US, and then there was this restaurant, TGI Fridays, and I just thought, my goodness, what is TGI meaning?
What is
and no,
it?
I know. Thank God it's Friday. Yeah, it is.
This is it. Oh, I'm not very good at abbreviations, and I just said, why on earth should you abbreviate things? Is this some kind of laziness?
Definitely it is, and I had no idea what ATM is or ATM stands for. Maybe I'm just too... I really had no idea, stupid me.
Yes, not that you're stupid. The abbreviations are not very clever themselves, by the way. I remember I had a teacher at the academy. He apparently was from my town, but that didn't make him more popular in my category, or didn't rocket him up on the top list of my favorite teachers. So he had this habit to tease us with abbreviations like, what do you think, guys, is PTO? Of course, we were very innovative and very inventive. So somehow we managed to produce a list of over 50 versions of what the blasted PTO may be. And guess what? It was, please turn over. Isn't it idiotic? It is idiotic.
I was wondering.
Yes, like, guess, is it white or is it black? No, it's blue. Like,
yeah.
I wished I was an adult then. I should have told him what I was thinking about him. Anyway, but Fridays are a good time to enjoy. Lovely friends, and yes, let's say hello once again to a very dear newcomer to me. This is my friend M. Savkova. Her name is Mary. She has a very rich background of a professional who has been working many, many years in the States and Canada, and partially her family lives there. She is able to hear us tonight, but is on mute because maybe she will have to sort technical issues, having some headset or something like that. Never mind. But we are very happy to see her among us. So, guys, today's topic, getting closer to the Christmassy, fizzy, fuzzy, frosty days, we decided to talk more about the community and the perception while being part of a community. Anutu, do you think we look apart?
Yeah, perception. Yeah, that was something that really went like a red thread, like we say in Germany, ein roter Faden. So like a red line that really followed up during the whole week, starting with Drop in the Ocean and then follow it up. And it really got my mind turning all the time, perception. And it's such an important topic that I thought it's a fantastic idea to give this week's Welcome Wagon, official Welcome Wagon Weekly Digest, the theme perception. I hope you all can hear me.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. So, perception, like I said, is the prompt of the Welcome Wagon Weekly Digest of this week. So, there were so many amazing articles that were put out on this very important thing. I think everybody once in a while has to think about. And like I said on the first edition of Barbarella show, I was talking about some experiences that turned me into perception at a very early age. So I was a young pupil, was probably the second class or third class. I was very young. And we were just a handful of pupils in the class, and it wasn't that large group like today. It's just a small group of young children who learned together. And there was one pupil, one friend that became a friend, wasn't a friend that first minute. So he wore not really splendid clothes. It's not this brand-like things that all the others wore. Everybody was so much into brands in that time. It was crazy and I hated it. And in Germany, unfortunately, we don't have school uniforms. So everybody was allowed to wear whatever he or she wants to. And I was observing him and I was a little bit irritated and thought, my goodness, why does he wear so poor clothes, sometimes dirty with holes, like he didn't have the money or the family didn't have the money to buy this brand things. And so, everybody else in the class was turning against him. And that hurt me so much because I'm very sensitive, and I was as a child I was even more sensitive and had no idea to protect me in a way, and I was hurt with him. So I really felt hurt with him. Every time they hurt him, they treated him badly. I was hurt, and that was my first minute thinking about perception in my life. Because I saw him completely different. And I thought, my goodness, what are they doing? They're judging him because of his clothes. They're judging him because of stuff that is really not important in life. And I went home with him and I met his parents. And both parents were alcoholics and they had no chance to even care for him. They couldn't even care for themselves. So, and everybody saw him so, they treated him so ugly because of missing brand's clothes, missing, this, whatever. And that was my first idea because they had truly the wrong perception of him. And that hurt me. And so this thing, perception, that could change our world if we really know how perception is formed and where it derives from. I mean, it starts all with cultural environments. It starts with the place where you're raised. Then it goes into doctrines like religion that can form perception out of perspectives. And if we all, sometimes at least, reflect on our perspectives, on the environment we are raised with, on doctrines that are maybe put upon us, and then question our perception. And think, okay, maybe I don't see it right. Maybe my perception is, in a way, blurred or filtered through how I was raised, what doctrines were applied on me. This is so important. And on the other hand, when you approach somebody that has maybe a different perception formed from different perspectives, it's also important to see, is this perception the true person's perception, or is it maybe formed by what life made of this person? And I think this is most important in our time when it comes to religion and all this kind of doctrines that are separating the world. And I think, perception is one of the most important things for our future to reflect upon. And therefore, I was so thankful for Pendaris starting this theme, perception and drop in the ocean, and then all these amazing articles on perception. And I really wanted to give it a further push with the Welcome Wagon Digest to, really to reflect even more on perception. And I would like to carry on the next weeks on perception, because it's such a large field, how they formed, and on the other hand, what we can achieve together if we question sometimes our perception. So reality and perception it's everything. It is. I mean, perception forms our reality in a sense. And to get a level lower to my own simple, tiny life, it forms my life. And when I became aware at a very early age, and because I was sensible, because I was sensitive, because I questioned maybe, or we became friends, in those days in school. But for him, his whole life was blended into alcoholism, into violence, into all this terrible things that are happening all around us. And I was fighting against interfamiliar violence for a long time. I had some projects running, and we did achieve some effort. And I really like to carry that further. And right now I have a friend that, with my help, was helped to leave the country, get away from her husband. And she was running a fabulous restaurant here in Malta, and she was very, very famous for her restaurant. And then her husband started drinking, taking drugs, punished her. And for me as a friend, it was hard. So we were looking for a solution. And now I'm really trying to rebuild her life together with her, to help her to get back to where she was. And what I learned from my first project that I was running on interfamily violence, concerning mothers with children that often really don't have a chance to get away from the family and start over, because they simply don't have the money. They sometimes don't have a job. Sometimes they learned not to, how do you say in English? It's like you learn a certain job, you study a certain job, you don't have a diploma. And because they took care for the children, and they simply didn't have the time to. And it's most important, what we did in the past is creating micro jobs, helping them to have their life, to finance their life. And it's, there's so many important aspects. And it's about perception. I mean, I can see a woman with a child in the train or in the bus that is just, like my childhood friend, looking different. You have to question. You have to shape your perception. I think that's most important. Otherwise, you cannot bring any change. So I would be more than happy if anybody is interested to follow up perception and shed some more light on this most important theme. So I for sure will within the next weeks and follow this up. So how about you, Ravi? How about your perception?
Thank you for shaping this up very concisely. It appears to be quite a broad topic, as we saw in your resume. And yes, it definitely was talk and write about it. And what I liked about your work with that topic is how you made a thread of it, knitting it through the entire Welcome Wagon Weekly Digest, of course, binding together best content during this last week, and of course, most of the creative authors among the creative authors of the Steemit platform. And this is where I could put the full stop to the perception in the third week of November, like to see what kind of treasures we dig up while searching for a good content. And we come across on strictly ethical and moral matters, like referring to perception. So it makes you think about the decisions you are making and why are you doing this. At least this is what I read in your thoughts and your resume. So a lovely week, a lovely capacity building week for the community this time. And while searching here and there valuable information, we came across something new. Well, not exactly very new, but with the Black Friday in mind. It's 2 week old, but maybe some of you have come across it. If not, I would like to ask our dear noble cupbearer, which appears to be who appears to be Captain Dream's team tonight. Please, will you, darling, drop here the link of the what was it? Crowdmind. It's guys, this is a very interesting platform coming up, and you wouldn't forget it as quickly as I did, because it has a very pure, clear design of the website, which impressed me the most, and it was the first thing that impressed me the most and made me ask for more, ask why these guys have appeared around, and how are they going to achieve everything that they are saying that they are going to achieve. Yes, it is Svemirats and Hidden 84 project. Who is green? Nice, Svemirats. Penderis is saying that. Ah, nice look at Svemirats crowd witness. You are green. Right. So I know Svemirats from the team Serbia, and we are supporting each other from time to time. So I was very surprised to see him involved in that project, but I was also very surprised how nobody would decide to spread more more words about what's behind that beautiful design, that beautiful idea. But nevertheless, as you will see, and as our beautiful Captain Dreams team will forward next links, you will see that they have been organizing themselves really seriously. So they have this website, and of course they have the Steemit blog, and they have the server on Discord. Apparently you may join. So looking diagonally their website, we found 4 major components they are going to dwell upon and try to get together, make the links of the expertise of people and experts from various backgrounds in order to provide more valuabilities and utilities for the community. And of course, I just hate to be not precise and talk empty, like what kind of valuabilities, what utilities. And I will be really glad and happy to have one of those guys from the team around us, maybe next Barbarella and future time. That would be lovely to see how this will flourish if they find the appropriate and good soil for that. So we're just Nutu and I, we have been discussing a little bit our impressions of the Crowdmind, like 2 people who have firm experience in project writing. So here is our yes and thumbs up on Barbarella for Crowdmind, and absolutely sure we would like to see more from coming up from these guys. So, Anuto, did you find something more about them? I know that you have your hidden ways to do that.
Yeah, yeah, I have them. But some
Private
thought of them.
investigation.
Yeah. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Hmm.
So putting it under the magnifying glass, like you used to say. So I would really like to spread some thoughts on Crowdmind because I see them really to bridge the gap. We have Foundation on one hand, and on the other hand, we have amazing projects at Foundation that don't get the exposure that I would like them to have. And I think Crowdmind, if they really manage to bring our community closer together, spread out, and select some projects they support, it could be a fantastic solution to help projects on Foundation, for example, to get more exposure, and that is needed. So Foundation is fantastic, and I love it. But as you can see in some projects, for example, Life's a Circus, it's heartbreaking for me because this movie project really has the potential, high potential to bring steam to the movie industry, or at least notice them about steam. And this is most important, I think, to spread out, to trigger some industries and to show that we are here, some industries that are ruled by artists that often have the problem to not get the funding. So this is really what I love to spread out there and say, here's an alternative solution. It could help you. And there's Foundation. Fantastic. But I think this really needs our community get together and with joint forces give more exposure. And if this is one aspect of Crowdmind, I'm more than happy to support them. So the much I love this project, I really miss some, how should I say? I don't want to say tools. I miss some, I'm a person, I'm involved into project management, project development, consulting. And I always ask, what is it and how do you like to achieve it? And the what is it, I fully understood. And the how to achieve it, I think we have to wait a few more weeks and they will enlighten us. At least so it seemed. And so please give them some time to develop everything to see how it will be achieved. And I think joint forces will be a key for success for Crowdmind. This is my personal opinion. How do you think about that, Ravi?
By all means, this is a very ambitious project, and also, by all means, we may just cross our fingers for these lucky guys who have the extreme opportunity to not sleep, not eat, not breathe, but work on it, as it takes it usually. And I liked Captain Dream's team's advice to them in the phone 4am, which was in the following emotional context: try to work smarter and not harder, which is absolutely, this was the wisdom of the week, together with the wisdom we will collect later in the final 15 minutes. But before that, Anuto, let us present the author of the week, who appears to be a very fine, elegant, and exquisite lady from South Africa, and this is our Princess Mew Mew. And I would like to turn your focus to one of her serials, Dear Steam Diary, pardon me. She is amazing. She is planning every day of her week, like Friday markets, antique Tuesdays, walking Wednesdays, and don't ask me about the Monday and the Tuesday. But for sure, this Friday for her was the most black of the blackest Fridays, as she's working in retail, and I could imagine what a nightmare of a working day she had. So if you excuse Princess Mew Mew's absence today, we'll be glad and very happy to have her chatting with us at some point in the future. But an amazing young lady like that surely deserves your time. So pop up at her blogspot, give some nice thoughts and comments. She's one of the most active Steamians on the platform, and such a charming smile. You wouldn't like to miss it. Is there anything that particularly impressed you at her blogspot, Anutu?
Oh yes, there's a lot. I'm a vintage guy. I love vintage stuff so much, and that was something that really popped into my eye. All these antiques, that I really love. Fantastic. And then there is the design of her Steam diary, which is amazing. And for me, as a designer, which I also am, the design of the Steam diary I really liked a lot. And I like this structure, like, you have certain days putting certain posts out. And I like that structure very much. And, her articles are very high quality and I like it. So I love it a lot. And I think it's well deserved for her to be author of the week. And so, like I said, check her antiques and vintage stuff. There's some very unusual items and interesting stories coming with it. And I think this is something that attracts me most with antiques and vintage stuff, to find out the stories behind and eventually write about it. So I think every old item hides a story. Imagine, these items could speak to you and tell the story themselves. I think that could be most interesting. And Ravi, do you have any old items that speak to you eventually?
Oh, maybe at least 5 voices are speaking daily in my head. This is insane. No, not insane. I'm not ideal, but I'm not insane. Yeah, sure. Well, not that they are speaking, but they're absolutely provoking my imagination. So basically at orders, customers' orders. And yes, this is what I liked about Princess Mew Mew, because obviously she has an approach or an attitude to that kind of items. And if you have read focusedly her materials, her content, you will see a very charming touch of elegance in her way with words, which is speaking a lot of her personality. And I remember very well once she took us all on a ride, on a trip to some kind of a resort in that part of the world she is living in, like some kind of a vacation, a family time. And she was so into the details that I felt like I was walking the rooms next to her. So this is a very rich vocabulary she's using to get you to the impression of the things she's seeing and feeling. This is a masterclass. Lovely, lovely feeling while reading her, even between the lines, behind the lines, up and above. It's an experience to read and feel this young lady, and she deservedly is our author of the week on the 23rd of November in the Barbarella show, 8 p.m. Yeah, we end with another gem. We end up with another gem in our treasury. Isn't it lovely, Anutu? What do we have so far? We have uh, two artists. We have a future movie star, don't we? Life's a circus.
Yeah, definitely. Life's a Circus will be famous. Definitely. I mean, she is already. And I love everything with her. You know, her spirit is just amazing. And then we have Zen Art that enlightens us with every post and make me think so often. You know, every post I read. This is next week.
Secret revealed.
Nominated her already. No, yeah, we put it out because we are 1 week behind, Ravi, because of
Yes,
last week's technical issues.
in mind with your weekly digest popularity, the secret is long time revealed now. Yeah, everybody's reading that, even in the Viennese saloons all over the continent. But anyway, yeah, I was thinking of the variety of backgrounds we have in our Hall of Fame of all previous authors of weeks. So I somehow miss to have a poet, and thinking of which, I think we should invite Engine Witty again at Barbarella, this time as an author of the week, and we'll have a poet too.
Definitely,
That would be
definitely,
lovely. He has a great way with words too. Yeah, what an amazing creative environment we are living in. Lovely. Speaking of community, that would be a very much covered topic in less than 5 minutes, because today we are more than honored to introduce you to a very open-minded person, a great host, a community involved, active person who uh, runs her project as if she is a baseball team. And I am absolutely convinced that she is working in a team of her experts, and she apparently is a great team player. Um, Having chosen such topics like perception and community today isn't absolutely accidental, as we took on this mission with Anutu early October and swore in front of each other that we will give and shed blood if necessary, but we will bring you to the good content in the community. Speaking of that, we just had a small discussion, of course, in the hangout after the shows, and we mentioned something, Anutu, if you remember this, like bad content killing good content. This is what we will let our guest to talk about later, but it reminded me, and I made this association, like the cancer cells eating the healthy cells, and there is not a lot of things that you could do about it. Thanks God, we have good knights in shining armors. Pardon my cliche, but it's like that. Exactly. Who know how to save the good cells from the bad cells, and that's why we are very happy to greet today in our late show. 1, 2, 3, Anutu. Shadows Pub. Hello.
ShadowsPub.
Hello, Shadows. How are you?
How are you?
Oh, we are fine. We are fine. We are alive and kicking at the end of a very busy out of the platform week. But we are not complaining and not even flattering ourselves, because we know that you are one of the most busiest people. At least October sounded busy for you with the campaigns and all the programs you are hosting. So
Actually, this year when it comes to Legion, I'm not as busy as I have been other years because I'm no longer president, and it's really kind of feeling good.
You feel good when you're not president.
Well, I was president for a lot of years, so
Mm,
being able to step back and let some others do some work is not a bad thing.
absolutely agreeing with you. So right, you had this campaign which took you away from Barbarella show quite a long time, and that's why
It
we are.
did.
Yeah, it did, and I hope all the efforts will crown themselves with most fine results. And I know that you are always chasing long-term effects. What what?
All the funds that were raised from the Poppy campaign go towards the benefit of our veterans, and we are allowed to give some funds to the cadets. The cadets are a kind of a paramilitary group that young people that learn military training on a voluntary basis. They support us, we support them, and they in turn support the veterans.
Absolutely fabulous campaign as it sounds, and it's the same firm principle as we found in almost everything you provide and offer as a support, like the my favorite one, the PYPT. We promote and the people support us, and then we support them. This is absolutely adorable approach.
It's a great approach. It's a great way of building community and networking, getting to know each other.
So
Some of the conversations that break out during PYPT, I don't think you could create those conversations. They're so spontaneous.
yeah, this is what we love about it because they are spontaneous, and this is speaking a lot of the people who are joining the PYPT sessions. So my question is, I quite wondered, is was the community that brought you to the to Steemit? How did you decide to join the platform?
Oh, I fell down a rabbit hole, and I came up on this website called Steemit. And I looked around for a while, and I went, I don't know if this is real, but I want to do some writing, so I might as well write here and see what happens. And, it went from let's see what happens to I'm hooked. I'm staying.
It's the special dopamine levels we receive here.
It seems to be, yeah. Well, and of course, there wasn't the supports then that are available now, which is great to see them available now and keeping people here.
Yes, it's better to be like that, in my opinion, uh, and see how the community grows from day to day. You wouldn't hear for the first time that phrase from me, how dynamic the days are on Steemit, but it's really amazing to see how it widens and broadens and covers the entire world, and most of the people here are very positive and really would like to contribute to achieve added value. They have that kind of ethical code, and they do really create good content because they are obviously talented. You are also co-hosting the curation corner, and sometimes I love to joke with words, to play jokes with the words themselves. And I was thinking, what was so necessary about the content to be curated, and I loved your explanation. So would you please explain it about content and curating it?
Well, in particular, when I first came on, although it's been pretty much the standard during the 2 years that I've been on. There was and at times is still a lot of spam on the platform, and some really bad posts. So because the posts get buried so quickly, that also means that spam and those bad posts are burying the good quality content that we all really need to see. So curating in the manner of finding these posts and putting them forward to people to get new eyes on them is needed in order to give those people an opportunity to be seen.
I see. This is absolutely necessary to be done if we would like to push talents and good content forward. And here is something. Here is an update from the kitty girl, who says something that I didn't know. When Shadows joined Steemit, there were no Discord servers for Steemit people together, so networking was harder back in those days. Shadows pioneered some of that networking. Phew, that sounds like a long time ago. What time is Kitty Girl talking about?
I joined in August of 2016. Steemit as a place to blog had actually just gone public in July of 2016. So I was about a month, maybe a month and a half after it had gone live. And she's right, there was no Discord. Discord came later.
And you decide to organize that parlor for the people to collaborate, to communicate, to interact. For me, the interaction is a key point about the community. You know, about the social medias, we are all present there, but the interaction is on a lower level.
I created the Steemit Ramble for people to recommend posts to me that they wanted to have included in the curation. And it was after I created it that I kind of realized that there were other possibilities, particularly when you can have somebody in voice and on text at the same time. And that's when I decided to try out the concept of PYPT.
An outstanding idea. And mentioning curation, what I was curious to know and ask almost everybody on Steemit, do you have a particular list of requirements for the good content? In your opinion, how does a good content look like so to be recognized by people like you?
It's content that, first of all, has a good title. Because if you haven't got a good title, you're not going to look you can get looked at a second chance. First few words have got to speak something. They've got to say something. And after that, your topic needs to have good points and be organized. And, you know, if you've got an excellent topic and your ideas are all over the place, people are not going to follow through and read the post. They're going to get bored. They're going to get confused. They're just going to get frustrated and off they're going to go. So it's got to have a good title. The opening words have to draw you in, and then they have to keep you there. Good formatting, good graphics, but the content needs to be good. And it goes the same if you're doing video as well.
Yes, for those of us who are in love with good formatting, you know, guys, how this sometimes getting on our nerves because you stay hours and hours and you pull here and you tug there and you just do a lot of changes until this looks like you like it and then publish. Yes, but what you have numbered here is sounding pretty much like the ideal post for me too. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I do not read recommended posts recommended to me. I just list them if I don't like their how they look or the title is not appealing to me. So thank you, Shadows, for sharing the formula with us. At least yeah.
There's another little trick that people can use, and it's not really a trick. It's actually a way of your viewers being able to encapsulate the post in a fairly quick order. Those little subtitles that we use, you should actually be able to go scan down through those subtitles and pick up the gist of the post just by reading them. And then if they grab your interest enough, then you go back and you read each section. So there's benefit to using subtitles when you're doing posts.
Yeah, this is good hint. Oh, thank you very much. That was lovely of yours to share. And as per your content, how do you decide on the topic you would like to write? Inspired by something, or do you always have a message to forward to the public?
Every post, regardless of what I write on, usually has a message of some sort. Is that a series of messages? Not likely, because I tend to have a lot of interests and I'll write in different areas. But I try to say something in every post that I put out. And of course, I've got the posts that notify people about shows. Probably one of the most interesting ones that I like doing is the ones for Drop in the Ocean.
Yeah, Drop in the Ocean.
They challenge you to think a little bit more because you're given a word and you need to do something with that word. Whether it goes into a poem, which by the way, you won't see from me. It goes into a story or goes into an article, or just explore where the word came from and how it gets used. You got to do something with it. And those are a good challenge.
Indeed. And this is where this is the pond where our topical word comes from today, the perception. And Penderis clarified earlier. Yes, you nailed it, darling. Oh, you did. He was kind to clarify earlier that the perception word was suggested by Julia, or You Have Wings, no matter. A very bright idea, by the way. And this is yet another charming characteristic of the community. You have people with bright ideas everywhere.
There's an amazing bunch of people on this platform.
Yes, and I was wondering, do we do enough to make them comfortable so they interact and provide more of the best they provide? You see how important is the environment for such people. It should be a friendly environment, a comfortable one. And here, of course, is a courtesy to the Rambling server, because you see how busy we are, especially on Fridays. And Shadows, thank you for getting the people to Barbarella. While they were, I saw them hanging at Witty's while preparing our late Barbarella show, and they instantly came to Barbarella. This is like a fluid fusing from Engine Witty to our show, and maybe if there is a later Engine Witty show, as we are very popular with the Friday sandwiches. Yeah.
I love that.
Well, it was like that. It was Barbarella Engine. It was like funny.
It was kind of teamwork, because I mentioned about going to Barbarella, and Engine says we can just move him over there, and he did.
Well, it's lovely. Thank you, hugs and kisses, Engine. And I feel like being at one of those students' time parties. Oh, we've been to that room. Oh, let's move to the neighbors. Which is just drink a bottle of wine. Yeah.
Address what you were asking about people feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that there's a mutuality, that, yeah, I'm here and I provide the space and, I host some shows. But if people didn't come into those shows, all of that would be for naught. So we kind of meet in the middle as in regards to activity. When new people come in, we can, and anytime I see people in the Ramble, I see people being friendly to them. Some of those people respond and they end up becoming part of the community because they understand that mutuality. And other people, for whatever reason, whether it's shyness, hesitancy, maybe as a language barrier, I don't know. But when they don't respond and they wander off, it's not because we didn't make them comfortable. It's just they couldn't find themselves comfortable. Because there's only so much that we can do.
Yeah, sure, but still, what invited me first and was the warmest welcome. This meant that the people who invited me and welcomed me here have equally received their also warm welcome here, and they were given the chance to flourish and just be the best of edition of themselves.
So Coffee and Kitty Girl both commented about the fact they were shy, and especially when they first came to the Ramble. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's probably a higher proportion of introverts online than there is anywhere else in the world. So there's nothing wrong with being shy. There's nothing wrong with kind of sitting over in the corner, as long as you recognize the fact that you're kind of part of that in the sense that you're shy, you're holding back, and don't just go away and say, "Oh, those people didn't like me." See, Dreams Team didn't go away, Coffee didn't go away, Kitty Girl didn't go away, and they're a part of the community, whether they have something to say at every show or whether they just sit and watch and support people quietly. They're part of the community.
Oh, here is a courtesy from Nutu to Captain Dreams Team and their Love Unlimited. Thanks to Captain Dreams Team, he had no chance to say no. Nutu, I don't have the impression that you are very shy.
Actually, he was. Dreams Team brought him into a creative coffee hour, and he was, she brought him in, I think, kind of on the premise of, come on in and hear this. But what she actually had in mind was for him to be speaking. And he was pretty hesitant at first, but it didn't take him long.
Yeah, it was like I had Discord just installed a few minutes before, and it was like, yeah, follow me, just push that button, come over here. And I was just, oh yeah, nice. I was in the middle of the community and had no chance to run away. And that was so good. That was some of the best things that happened to me, to be honest, because I'm usually, it's not that easy to open up on a platform you just met, you're just there, and you just don't know anybody. I don't regret a minute. So I'm so thankful.
We too.
I'll tell you a little offline story that I pulled on somebody, and she was my branch secretary. We were setting up for honors and awards, and we got the mic set up, and I said to her, I says, use the mic and call the names out, and I'll present from here. And she looked at me with wide-eyed, with this panic look on her face. And she went, I can't use the mic. I said, what do you mean you can't use the mic? Oh, I can't use the mic. I said, well, okay, stand there and fake it. Just let on you're using the mic and speak up. Oh, okay. So what she didn't notice was that when I got up from my spot to go to the table where the awards were, I flipped the mic on. So she gets up to the mic and she thinks she's faking it. And she's actually on the mic. And we're about 20 minutes into this presentation. And she looks over at me across the room. And over the mic, she says to me, this mic's on. I says, I know. And she says, and I'm speaking into it. And I went, I know. And she says, I'm using the mic. And at this point, I'm double over laughing. There's nothing I can do. And I just looked at her. I went, I know. And you're doing really well. Carry on. Never had a problem using the mic after that. I pushed her out of her comfort zone by doing it.
This is perfect.
Yeah,
And
it's
her and I still
Nutu.
laugh about that.
Yeah, good old jokes. And yeah, we would never know about Anutu's, as Kitty Girl has put it, velvet and smooth voice. And beats me, but I may organize some kind of voice, given a hint by Gastronome Sargento, because we have Ingenuity with a very velvety voice, and then we have a Nutu. Let's make a casting for the velvet voice at the end of the year. You have my yes.
Yes, Sarge has been a member since the beginning.